Okay, now I want to talk to you about how to balance form and function. And that means understanding the difference between using form follows function as a prescription versus a description. Now, before you get the idea that there is no point to all of this, that I'm just yammering on about things and hey, when do we get to see visual stuff? Here's what you need to understand. The thing that will make you a great designer, the thing that will make the designs you produce truly useful, usable, valuable, the thing that will elevate you above your peers, the thing that will make you better at what you do than anyone else, is your understanding of why you make the visual decisions that you make. Okay? That is the only thing that separates you from anybody else. So it is tremendously important to have the right mindset towards how you go about designing something. If you don't have this part, you're going to be just like everyone else who just does stuff arbitrarily, gets, mediocre to terrible results, and has a hard time in their life, in their career, in their work, and you just never produce anything that does what you hope it'll do. All right? So stick with me. Let's go through this. Here's what I mean by description and prescription. On the description side, when we consider form follows function, that means this. Beauty only results from purity of function, not ornamentation, not what it looks like. It means that we favor simplicity over complexity across the board. This comes from the belief that form follows function in nature, right? Which it doesn't. The prescription side of this says that aesthetic considerations in design should be secondary to functional considerations. All right. This is the one that's gotten us into so much trouble. I guarantee you that most of you taking this course have had a discussion with an engineer, a programmer, a developer, a product owner, whoever, where their entire emphasis is on the tech side, is on the underlying program, the underlying functionality, the underlying data capture. In other words, the last thing on their list is the UI, right? It's the last thing they're looking at. It's the last thing they care about. This is largely where this comes from because this is how they were taught design and development and product development works. This has been around for a long time and it is still taught in development, in engineering and programming curriculum. So on the description side, in nature, it sort of looks like this, all right? Variations in form allow some species to succeed, survive, and flourish, which means that due to competition for resources, some variations of forms are more successful than others. It's the way the food chain works, right? Certain animals thrive and survive and eat the others because they're not built to survive the attack, right? Or they're not made to withstand the elements. When a fish is out of water, it dies. All right, that's what we're talking about here. That's a variation in form specific to context, specific to environment. If you compare that to how we approach product design, it means that variations in form of the products we design are competing for sales, right? At the end of the day, most businesses are trying to make money, right? They're selling something. So the winner is usually the one whose variations in form and the integration of the most appropriate function delivers the most relevant, appropriate, and valuable experience to the customer, right? We use something and we go, wow, I can't believe I've lived without this for the last 6 months. Those experiences come from the successful integration of form and function, all right? This variation in form that is in context with what people want from it. On the prescription side, it gets approached like this. It becomes dogma, it becomes these blind things that we follow, right? We have to prioritize functionality over all other design considerations, including usability, ergonomics, and aesthetics. This is what frustrates the hell out of most UX people, UI designers, and many front-end developers who have, human-centric sensibilities. It's an insistence that aesthetic considerations in design should be secondary to functional considerations. Again, this is something that is taught explicitly to software engineers, okay, to developers, to programmers. It's changing as the world evolves and as information gets better and as we're all sort of realizing that the bar is higher than that. But you have to understand where this deep bias comes from. I'm telling you all this so that you're aware of it. When you have these arguments, you can say to yourself, okay, I know where that's coming from. And you can calmly address it with the ammunition I am giving you right here. In product design, right, designers and developers are led to ask a very wrong question. And that question is, what elements here don't specifically serve a function and should be removed? Again, there's emphasis on functionality. It's the wrong question. Prescriptions like this treat symptoms, not problems. And as I said to you earlier, design is problem solving. Okay, taken to its logical conclusion, if the form of a design was ruled solely by its function, if that was the only thing we cared about, then every functional item would have one and only one design solution. Everything would look the same. Everything would be the same. All right, whether you were a snake or a turtle or a bird or an elephant, you would be shopping at the same store. Every element would ultimately have the same design, right? Body shape, size, gender, none of it would matter. You'd all be wearing, brown suits, black shoes, shirts and ties. All right. This is literally the outcome of that kind of thinking, and people don't see it for what it is. That means that instead of something specific to an organization like this who sells kitchen cabinetry, right? Instead of picking colors and typefaces and images that are specific to the product we're trying to sell, to what we're trying to communicate, to create something that's unique to this organization, this brand, to give them a voice, okay, all those things, every web design would essentially look like this. All right, there would be no reason for different logos, styles, for different fonts, for different colors. They would all be the same. We would use this approach for everything. But as we know, that's not the gig. That's not what we're here to do. And we also know through experience that it doesn't work. The thinking here goes that before an object's form can be changed, it would need to serve a different function. So if a website is a website is a website is a website, none of that would change until it became something else, like a mobile app, which concurrently means that all mobile apps would look alike as well. All right, you see the problem here?